What is going on? How are we doing? Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. My name is Harrison Graham. We are 3 days away from Bears-Rams at Cold Soldier Field. Gonna be a good one. Gonna be a fun one. Hopefully the Bears pick up win number 13 on the year and advance to the NFC Championship game for the first time in 15 seasons. Got my handy-dandy producer, Cullen Brown, with me. He's freaking out because Sam Darnold is listed as questionable. Sounds like he's going to play, but felt a little something in that oblique, Cullen. That'll make it a little nervy 48 hours from kickoff for your boys.
What the fuck? Sorry for any children watching. Yeah, just an absolute, we want to talk about bombshell news. Yes, it sounds like from what Sam Darnold said, he kind of, I guess, aggravated / kind of felt something throwing on air, didn't want to push today, was kind of more focused on making it a rehab day. He says he's going to play, that it's closer to 0% that he doesn't play, all this other stuff. Not something you want to hear, as you mentioned, 2 days before a playoff game. I promise you we'll get into some more Bears stuff, but I'm going through it right now. I'll be honest.
That's big news. It could impact the Bears if they advance. It's significant, so we'll see how it all plays out. Let us know where you guys are watching from. We got Jacob in Sulphur, Joshua in Phoenix. Colorado Springs is where Scott Sutcliffe is. We got Beatdown from Austin. Bear Down and Beatdown. I'd be down for a beatdown. Let's get a beatdown. Come on. Let's get a beatdown. Get the Dennis here in a sec.
May. Green Bay sucks. Hey, who does Green Bay play this weekend? Oops, forgot. It's nobody.
Big Dumper says Jalen Milroe season. No, it would be Drew Lock season.
Drew Lock season.
Drew Lock.
Gross. Love Drew Lock.
If Drew Lock started, what would your confidence level be in beating?
Oh, God.
I still think they would have a chance.
Yes, they'd have a chance.
Their defense is going to – they held San Francisco to 3 points 2 weeks ago. It's a new game. It's going to be interesting.
I don't even want to think about that possibility. Let us know down below also while you're letting us know where you guys are tuning in from. Predict the score. Chicago Bears, Los Angeles Rams, or as Harry mentioned, a chance to head to the NFC Championship game. Let us know down below those score predictions. I'll get some shout-outs here while we're waiting for the Super Chat link to load.
Get those Super Chats in shortly. We got Baby Snipe says Bears 31-14. That'd be fun. Kind of blow out Stafford and the boys. Nathan says 34-27. Bears 45-40 from Mudvan. That'd be entertaining. Silent says 31-27. Running back the same score. Western says 31-24. 31-20 Bears from Antonio Brown. Is that the AB? Matt Bellick, 27-23 Bears. 24-17 Bears from Diane. Matthew, 21-7. If we hold them to 7, I'd be stunned. All right, Dennis, the Chicago kid, he says, if we could host NFC Championship, not trying to look ahead. Yeah, obviously, apologies to Cullen here, but I'd much rather play the Niners at home than go to Seattle. So, that's just part of it. So, we'll see what happens. I like Seattle to win, especially if Darnold plays. Even if he's not 100%, if they just play clean football, they should beat San Francisco. But obviously the Bears got to get through the Rams as well. So we'll see what happens. Anthony, I wonder if my ex is still wearing the Caleb jersey. I got her. # I miss you, but the Bears have been good since we broke up. So let's get back together after the Super Bowl. I like it, Anthony. Hit her up after. If here's the play, Anthony. The Bears win the Super Bowl. You get a couple of drinks in you, if you're of age, of course, and you text her, hey, we're champs. We getting back together or what? That's the play. Anthony. So
Bears going to the NFC Championship game. How you been?
Yeah. Sup? You up?
You up. Missed you.
Rooting for you, Anthony. Rooting for you. But I'm glad your priorities are straight. Let's get through this Bears season first. So love it. And I think you guys are going to love this. I got to be honest. The merch team, shout out to my guy Arnold behind the scenes, has been fantastic, and he did it again. We've got Iceman 18 gear. Chatsports.com/Iceman. Chatsports.com/Iceman gets you to the Iceman collection. We got a lot to talk through here, so let's go one by one. You got the navy shirt here with kind of the ice border, the navy silhouette, Iceman with the orange 18. Then we got the white shirt, the orange silhouette. You got the icicles coming off of it as well with the Iceman 18. All same link, chatsports.com/Iceman. That's going to get you to the homepage. Then you click and shop from there. The first two links are going to be the T-shirts and then the hoodies. And then we got combo deals. Stay tuned. You got the hoodies. That thing is sexy right there. Hoodies just for $44.99. Chatsports.com/Iceman. Again, that's just going to keep it easiest. Chatsports.com/Iceman. Got the hoodies in white as well with the orange silhouette. I mean, come on. This is the 4th and 8th row. Jordan-esque. Chatsports.com/Iceman. Check it out. But wait, before you just buy it all, do you want both? You can get the white hoodie and the navy t-shirt at chatsports.com/Iceman1. $75 value at full price. You buy them together, $65. $10 off. Maybe you want a hoodie, you get your son a shirt, vice versa. If you want both, you get one of each. Oh, we could flip it too. Ta-da! Chatsports.com/Iceman2. Navy hoodie, white shirt, $65. Awesome deal. Don't know how long the bundle deal is going to last, so take advantage today. Get it right now. The Iceman is here to stay. Win or lose on Sunday, 7 comeback wins for Caleb Williams. Iconic moment on 4th and 8. Get your Iceman gear right now. If you go to chatsports.com/Iceman, by the way, you can find these bundles too. They're all hyperlinked right there. But Iceman 1, Iceman 2 after chatsports.com/Iceman 1, Iceman 2 gets you straight to the bundle deals. Take advantage. It is awesome. If you want both, I see a couple comments. If you want both in the same color, DM me. We could probably work something out on the discount if you're dying to. I personally recommend you get one of each because I think it's pretty cool. But if you want the same color, DM me at HGramNFL, Twitter, Instagram. You could also email bears@chatsports.com. We could probably work something out for you. But the bundle deals, one of each, I think is pretty freaking awesome. So chatsports.com/Iceman, get you to the homepage. The Iceman gear. Looking pretty good, Cullen.
Not gonna lie, it's pretty sweet. Shout out to our guy Arnold, who does a lot of really awesome work behind the scenes. He is bringing you guys some of the freshest gear in the game. I mean, it's unique too. You're not gonna get that anywhere else. I mean, that's
nope.
He's one of a kind, and shout out to him. And hopefully, you guys, if you guys are interested, check out some and get some cool gear during this Bears playoff run.
All right.
Marjorie says, I want both of them. White shirt and the hoodie. Can you send me? Yeah, so I just put Harry's Twitter and Instagram in the chat along with the links for obviously the Iceman if you want to get individual items or both combo deals that we have. But if you guys want to get, double navy or double white items, just DM Harry at HGramNFL both on Twitter and Instagram. I put the links in the chat. And get your stuff today.
You can also, if you want to just email.
Yeah, do you want to just do the Bears at Chat Sports?
There you go. Emails in the chat.
Okay.
Just say, hey, I'd love the bundle deal in the same colors, so we'll try to work something out. Email's probably easiest, but you can DM me too, at HGramNFL. So just be aware of that. All right.
We'll get Big Dumper up on here.
Yeah, we'll get Big Dumper super chat, and then we'll get this thing rolling here. Let's get it.
Let's get it. Get Big Dumper, who's asking about Stafford's finger injury. Do you test Stafford's finger early? Not trying to say go for his hand, but do you make him throw the ball more? Question mark.
Do you test Stafford? Yeah, I mean, he says he's fine. He's not even wearing a splint. I mean, sure, but I don't know how you really sure, they're gonna throw the football. It's not like they're gonna hand it off every play. So I think we'll know pretty early if there's any impact. If you have a chance to strip sack, hit that hand, do it. What within the rules. Obviously, hitting the player's hand isn't illegal or anything, but it seems like it's a non-issue. I mean, he's not going to wear a glove, a splint, anything like that. He's been a full participant in practice. So, yeah, I mean, I do think in general stopping the run first is key. Try to get them one-dimensional like the Bears were able to do against the Packers in the second half, but I think that's the plan regardless. So we'll see how it looks. We will see how it looks.
All right, Anthony coming in with another super chat. Appreciate the donation. Anthony says, "Who are we going to play on opening Thursday night next year?"
That's a good question. I could see them just putting – if the Bears won the Super Bowl with all the juice in this Johnson, LaFleur, they might just run Bears-Packers week 1.
They could. This brings me back to a point that I've always made, that the first opening game of the season, in my opinion, should always be the Super Bowl rematch, in my opinion. I get that sometimes they're not always the same teams. And
well, I was going to say, the only challenge with that is they'd have to change how they schedule.
Very true.
Because you alternate which AFC divisions you're playing.
Very true.
So it would depend on if they draw. I do think in years where they draw that division, that should just be the automatic rematch.
Yeah.
I do think they play the AFC East next year. So Bears-Bills or Bears-Patriots? Who says no?
Could be a battle of decimates if that were the case.
Yeah, watch out, Alper. Buckle up. Ricky Sanchez says, can't spell cinema without Iceman. That's right. 3531, chatsports.com/Iceman. Check it out. Check it out. All righty. Appreciate the super chats. Hit that like button if you want to lock us in. Let's get as many Bears fans in here as possible. We got almost 500 people watching. We got a busy show, so hit that like button. Let's get more Bears fans in here. We got plenty to discuss, injury updates. We don't have the full Bears injury report yet, so might add that toward the end of the live show if that comes in. But did have some quotes from Kevin Dotson as he's trying to play. He's missed the last few weeks with injury. That's the big one to watch this week anyway. So we will have that covered. So hit the like button. We'll kick things off with the latest injury news and updates. We also heard from the Bears coordinators at Halas Hall today, Coordinator Thursday. So we will have a comment from each of them. We'll take your questions, hashtag Bears or Super Chat. And then Sean McVay sounding off on the Bears, and is he getting help from a Bears rival? We'll discuss that and more. It's all coming up here on Chicago Bears Now. I'm Harrison Graham. Busy day at Halas Hall. It is Coordinator Thursday as we hear from Dennis Allen, Richard Hightower, and Declan Doyle. Plus, we get into the latest injury news leading up to Bears versus Rams on Sunday night. All right, Dennis Allen speaking to the media today, talking about C.J. Gardner-Johnson and how he'll fit back into the game plan along with Kyler Gordon, who made his return last week. DA saying both will have a role on Sunday. And it's going to be interesting to see how they kind of mix and match those two guys. Does Kyler Gordon play occasional snaps at outside corner? Does C.J. Gardner-Johnson or Kyler Gordon get used as kind of a hybrid linebacker? I could see C.J. Gardner-Johnson being used in the box a lot. Down the stretch of the season, he was struggling a bit in coverage, especially in one-on-one situations. I think he's a much better downhill player when he's able to play with instincts and, mix it up in the run game and things like that. When he's having to play laterally, when he's having to defend twitchy players one-on-one, it's just a big challenge for him. We'll see if Kyler Gordon can do some of those responsibilities. I think you'll see an occasional play or two where both are in and both blitz, and you just get those guys on the edge and try to make Matthew Stafford uncomfortable. Here's what I do know. Both these guys are chess pieces, and I want to see them out there a lot on Sunday and out there together as much as possible. Dennis Allen, this is aggregated by 79th and Halas, saying that even though things to improve on, he does feel Tyreek Stevenson played well on Sunday. So I think that's also going to be interesting because we saw Tyreek get back into the mix last week. how do they stagger the outside corners? Is it a rotation? Is it Nashawn Wright and Jalen start and they feel it out from there? I will say this, to Nashawn Wright and Jalen Johnson's credit, I thought both played pretty well in the second half when they had to have it. Jalen had a nice breakup on a slant toward Christian Watson. I thought it was his best rep of the year, other than maybe that pick six he created off of Brock Purdy in Week 17. It's like, that's the old Jalen Johnson. It's like, reads it, identifies, gets a hand in there, punches it out. That was a really good play. I thought he looked better in the second half. I thought Nashawn Wright played better in the second half. He was in a good position a couple of times as well. And then obviously when Tyreek Stevenson's been out there in recent weeks, I think he's played well. So in a perfect world, you have three good outside corners the rest of the way, and you can mix and match or ride the hot hand or whatever the case may be. But these are good problems to have. So hopefully that continues. And you need these guys to play well, because Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua, who DA praised and said there is no weakness to his game, those are two very difficult players to defend on the outside in a football game of this magnitude. Declan Doyle had this to say about Caleb Williams' ability to lead comebacks. Said, confidence is born of demonstrated ability. They have demonstrated to themselves that they could be in these tough moments and they can keep swinging. Yeah, and they've talked about it all year. They've done it all year. Caleb, this Bears team, they are not intimidated by the moment. They have 7 comeback wins in the final 2 minutes of games. Like, it is one of those deals where if Caleb has the ball late, you feel good about your chances. It's not a 100% hit rate, but you feel pretty confident he's going to give you a chance to win in those situations. So, I think it starts from the coaching, the attitude, the mindset that they brought in, the tough practicing during training camp. Like, you build those calluses, and, the tougher team mentally and physically a lot of the time wins these games. Obviously, the details are most important, but when you get down to crunch time, it's details first and toughness second. How can you overcome adversity? We know this team can do that very, very well because they've done it all year. They've been in tight games all year, and they've won a ton of tough and tight games. Okay, let's talk special teams real quick. Richard Hightower, putting all of his faith in Cairo, was asked about the challenge of him kicking in a freezing cold Soldier Field this Sunday. Says, quote, Cairo is a consummate pro, full confidence in him kicking in the elements. And I think we have to have full faith in Cairo at this point. Look, we all know what the deal with Cairo is. He doesn't have the biggest leg. But you know what? The guy is a cold elements kicker. Just because he can't try 60, 65-yarders, the ones he can try, the ones he's in range for, you feel very confident he's going to split the uprights. He was a big reason the Bears beat the Packers. He went 3 for 3 on kicks, including a huge 51-yarder after Caleb Williams got strip sacked, and they lost about 10 yards where Ozzie Trapiller or Drew Dahlman, can't remember, one of those guys recovered the fumble, and they had to kick. Brandon McManus missed 2 field goals and an extra point. The kicking game was a huge factor on Sunday. Devin Duvernay had a couple of nice returns. Richard Hightower's unit has been playing really well for a few months now. So I feel good about that group. I feel good about Cairo. We didn't even see Torrey Taylor. They didn't punt. They were either going on 4th down and not getting it or scoring points. So we'll see what the third phase looks like this week. But that group's in a groove right now. And it's nice when you have, you're watching a game, you're like, you don't want to be holding your breath during special teams, because that's what Rams fans have to do. Their special teams units are atrocious. Now, this new kicker they have has been better, but they've had a bunch of kicks, some punts blocked this year, the return game, return coverage, it's all struggled. So that could play a big role, especially in cold and windy elements at Soldier Field this week. Subscribe to the channel. We are trying to get to 154,000 subscribers before Sunday's game. Can we get there? We're 578 away. I know there's a lot of Bears fans out there watching right now that haven't subscribed. Take the plunge. It's free. We don't charge a dime. Turn on those notifications while you're at it. We would appreciate the love and the support as always. All right, coming up, the latest Bears and Rams injury news as we get closer and closer to kickoff on Sunday. We'll catch you up on that. But first, got to tell you guys about our awesome sponsor. That is Prize Picks, daily fantasy made easy at prizepicks.com/CLNS. Whether you're starting a new routine or making player picks for the first time, trying something new can be hard. But in life and on Prize Picks, it always feels good to be right. With high-pressure playoff matchups every weekend and elite hoops action almost every night, the action never stops. and PrizePicks lets you take control. PrizePicks is the only app that offers stacks, meaning you could pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. Want to pick more on Caleb Williams' pass yards, rush yards, and touchdowns? Now you can, all in the same lineup, only on PrizePicks. I took a little 3-player lineup for you guys this weekend. I took more on Caleb's passing yards. He's been on a heater recently. More on Colston Loveland's receiving yards. He's really been on a heater. And then Puka Nacua has been awesome all year, so I do think he'll score a touchdown. Took more than half a receiving or rushing touchdown. Doesn't matter which. $20 entry to win $85. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use our code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it is good to be right. All right, let's get to the Bears injury news and report for Thursday. Things continue to look good for Chicago. All 5 of these players were full participants. Braxton Jones, who's made his way back from injury. Got to give him a lot of credit for battling back. Hasn't played since September. All 3 players who missed last week with the concussion, CJ Gardner-Johnson, Eamon Ogbongbemiga, Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, full participants today. And then Jalen Reeves-Maybin, who could get some snaps at linebacker, who was limited yesterday, was full today with that back injury. Now, both DJ Moore and Rome Odunze were limited today. DJ with the knee, and of course, Rome's been dealing with that foot issue. We'll see. I feel confident they're going to play, and they're just kind of managing their workload at this point in the season. Obviously, Rome has had that stress fracture, and then DJ Moore has just kind of dealt with nicks and bruises all year. The only player who it looks like is probably not going to play is Nick McLeod. Is dealing with a groin injury. Not sure when that happened. Must have been during the game at some point, but he has not practiced this week. So I would not expect him to be out there. Now, for the Rams, the big injury to watch is Kevin Dotson, their guard, who is a really good player, and you could argue their best offensive lineman. He's pushing to try and play on Sunday. Here's what he had to say to the media. He said, even the last game, he says, it really hurt me to not be out there with my guys. Hopefully I can be here for this game, and I want to be here to make an impact. We take it day to day, and we have a lot of tests that we have to go through first before we can truly assess it. I think he's their best offensive lineman when healthy. I mean, you could say Alaric Jackson, he's solid at left tackle, but Kevin Dotson is good in pass pro. He can move. You can use him in the run game effectively. So that's obviously a big deal if he plays. Is this one of those that's like a game-time decision? I would guess they probably put him in the questionable category for this football game, but I would guess he gives it a go, even if he's not 100%. And if he does play, that's obviously a big deal for their running game and, of course, for Matthew Stafford. All right, guys, who do you guys think wins on Sunday? Be honest. I want your honest answer here. Type CHI for the Chicago Bears. Type LAR for the Los Angeles Rams. For now, I'm sticking with the Bears, 30-28. I think the elements are going to play a big role, and I think the Bears can score points on this defense. Give me CHI. I like Chicago on Sunday. It's Chicago. Yeah. Hit that subscribe button. We will be here all week long. And, of course, Sunday night, kickoff 5:30. He'll probably go live 3:30. I think a full 2 hours again. We will be ready to rock and roll, seeing what's going on in the game before us, which is Texans-Patriots. And then, of course, getting you ready for kickoff. Going to be a fun night. Subscribe. Join us. Hope to see you there. Bear down.
Use hashtag Bears or Super Chat to get on the show. I see we've gotten Super Chats from Luke, DeRom, and SRM Scott. Those will be included in our mailbag coming up here in a few moments. Obviously, in terms of injury news for both the Rams and Chicago, Harry, it seems like relatively healthy for the most part for both teams. So,
yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, Nick McLeod is a versatile backup, but with Gardner-Johnson back, your top three outside corners are healthy. I think you're okay there. I assume Rome and DJ are going to be fine. They'll play. So, yeah, I mean, I think Dotson and potentially Poona Ford, we'll see what he does today. Those are probably the ones to watch. Let me see if there's a Twitter update on him. Not seeing anything new, but he did an interview yesterday, so I assume he's going to be fine. So, yeah. It's two mostly healthy teams. Two mostly healthy teams.
We do need some more Bears questions, so make sure to get in. Could be something about this matchup. Could be some, keys to victory. Is there a question about the defense maybe that you have for Harry? Whatever the case may be. Could it be a potential offseason question? Looking ahead, hopefully no one's looking ahead because it's a big game this weekend. But if you got any questions, use #Bears to get involved.
#Bears or Super Chat.
Yeah, the Bears, because they play the final game of the divisional round, they're obviously going to know. Obviously, we'll go live. I think it'll probably be towards the tail end of Patriots-Texans, and then...
Yeah, I mean, we'll go 3:30. It'll probably be about halftime of that game.
Yeah.
We'll do 2 hours early. That game's at 2. Yeah, we'll probably go live around halftime of that game.
But by the time the Bears kick off, obviously, you'll know the entirety of the rest of the NFL playoff picture.
And I'll probably do a video at home Saturday night after the NFC game, so we kind of know what the situation is for the Bears if they win, whether they go on the road to Seattle or host San Francisco. Hopefully, for your case, heading to Seattle, but we shall see.
We shall see. We shall see indeed. Let's see. Getting some more questions here. Y'all are also welcome to fire them in during the mailbag. We can answer a couple of these because they're not going to be necessarily mailbag related. First one coming in from Luke. Says, because he asked Super Chat before this, he goes, also 38-24 Bears with a C.J. Gardner-Johnson touchdown.
By the way, he was asked how it feels to be back this week. He said, good, hopefully going to my 4th straight NFC Championship game. Went to the NFC Championship game with the Lions in 2022. Made it to the Super Bowl with the Eagles in 2023. In 2024, he won the Super Bowl with the Eagles. Am I doing this right? No, 2022 made the NFC Championship game with the Eagles.
Yes.
2023 made the NFC Championship game with
the Lions.
The Lions.
Yes.
Then he was back with the Eagles, made the Super Bowl last year, won the Super Bowl, and then this year is a game away from the NFC Championship game. So it's been quite the journey for our guy C.J. Gardner-Johnson. He seems to be on winning team. And you know what's crazy? The team he started this year with is a game away from the conference championship. The Houston Texans.
Just a winning ball player, man.
All he does is win. Joe Thuney as well.
Yep.
Looking to go to his millionth Super Bowl.
Someone was asking, do we accept Venmos or Cash Apps? We do.
We do.
Just threw them in the chat.
At HGramNFL on Venmo, # HGramNFL on Cash App. If you want to donate that way, you certainly can. Yeah, Joe Thuney has been to the last 3 Super Bowls, the 2021 AFC Championship game, and a few more Super Bowls with the Patriots. So, pretty crazy.
Some guys just win, man.
Pretty crazy.
Some guys just win. We got some...
A few more questions. # Bears or Super Chat. Oh, I like that Case Keenum one. Let's work that one in there.
Okay.
Ben H.
Yeah, we'll work that one in there. We've got some more Super Chats rolling in that we can answer here real quick. Cullen Graham says, win or lose, when's the next mock draft?
If they lose, we'll probably do one next week.
Pretty crazy.
I don't think we'll get to one until they're out. I mean, there's a chance that week before Super Bowl week, because there's that extra week off. If we just need a segment, we would do one. There's a chance, but the week they're out, we'll probably hit one on that Thursday live show. Wouldn't be on the first live show right after, but we will have one relatively soon once they're out of the playoffs. Dennis, picks this weekend. I got Buffalo, New England, Seattle, Chicago. What's the afternoon game tomorrow? Buffalo?
Oh, you mean Saturday?
Saturday.
It's the afternoon game is Buffalo, Denver.
Then it's Seattle, San Francisco, then Houston, New England before our game.
Yep.
I guess I'll lean Buffalo. I think Denver's a much better team, but if it's close, you would pick Josh Allen. So I think if you're Denver, if you can put the game away, you're in a good position. If it's close late, you're kind of crossing your fingers. I'll go Buffalo reluctantly. Go Buffalo, Seattle, Houston, Chicago. Those are my picks.
Some good ones.
Houston and Buffalo as the lower seeds. That would be a Texans-Bills in Houston AFC title game among wild card teams.
Pretty nuts.
The two AFC games, I think, they're all tough to pick, but those two are. I could see those. I could really see any game going any way. I know you're nervous, and that's natural as a fan. If Darnold's healthy and mostly himself, and they play relatively clean, they should win. I don't want to say easily, but who scares you on the Niners offense?
Kyle Shanahan.
I get it.
That would be my answer.
DeMarcus Robinson?
Shoot, CMC.
Juwan Jennings going to throw some touchdowns?
You never know.
You
Get creative with it.
Look,
just to give mine. I kind of been talking myself into this pick. I think I'm actually going to roll with Denver. They've been
Jags easily could have won that game.
Here's the thing. They could have. And I think Denver's had this kind of weird vibe to them this year, just in terms of like how they've kind of won these games. It's a tough place to play in Mile High, so I'll roll with Denver.
You know what Denver is? They're a defensive, less entertaining version of the Bears. They play up to competition, win close games. At times, they play down to competition. But Bo Nix is a good fourth quarter quarterback. Their defense is much better, but their offense is worse.
Yeah.
They're kind of the opposite.
They are the inverse.
They're the inverse of the Bears in a lot of ways.
No doubt. I'll roll with I'm going to roll with Seattle in that one begrudgingly, although I think it's going to be closer than people expect. I'll go New England and Drake May. And then I've got Chicago winning this one. And I genuinely, that's not because I'm on it. I genuinely think the Bears are going to somehow fight. And it's going to be one of those where, wake me up when it's the fourth quarter again. It's just the way this team works.
Yeah.
It just is. Hopefully they start off better, and hopefully Bears fans are in a good mood. But, I think regardless, they're going to make it a game in the fourth quarter, and I think the Bears come out on top.
Should have a chance in the fourth. We know if that's the case, they have a better chance of finding a way than not.
Yeah. Although to your point, that Buffalo-Denver game, I think it's the first game of the weekend, obviously.
I don't have any feel for that game. Denver off the bye, could they come out flat? Do the Bills just have enough? The thing about Buffalo too, they cannot stop the run.
No.
If I could give Sean Payton advice, just run.
Yeah.
Run RJ Harvey. Is he hurt or is he playing? He's playing, right?
Yeah, Harvey's playing. I think JK's playing too.
Is he back?
I think he is.
That's even more reason. Just hammer those backs. They give 5 yards a carry.
To me,
Josh is going to have to be unreal, which he can be.
The Jaguars at one point were averaging over 10 yards a carry on the Bills.
Like you said.
Late in the second.
You said it. Cohen kind of got away from it.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. See what happens. Tyler Villa.
Yep.
Going to the game Saturday. Bears by 13. Let's go, Tyler. You've been good luck.
Yes. I don't want to mess this up because you told us how to pronounce your, I think, fiance's name. But hopefully if you and your fiance are going, you'll have an awesome time.
Yeah, I forget. He told us how to pronounce, and I'm totally... Is it Diane or something like that? Starts with the D, I think.
If you want to in the chat, Tyler, you're more than welcome to let us know. But
if y'all are going, Tyler, bring us home a dub. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. All right, we'll take your questions. # Bears Super Chat. I do want that Case Keenum one in there. It's a good talking point.
All right, Rose, I'm muted. Check your Venmo and Cash App just to make sure we didn't.
I do not see one. Yeah, I don't have anything, so all
cool.
Good. All right, here we go. # Bears Super Chat. Let's get it rolling here on Chicago Bears Now. Kane Dynasty kicks things off here on Chicago Bears Now. He says Rams have the edge in all critical categories, quarterback, head coach, and trenches, so weather is our hope. I don't think it's just that. First of all, I think the head coach, yes, Sean McVay has been around longer. That doesn't mean Ben Johnson can't outcoach him. Ben Johnson's a high-level coach. Quarterback, yes, Stafford has been around longer. He's probably going to win the MVP. That doesn't mean Caleb Williams can't go toe-to-toe with him or even potentially outplay him. And offensive line, I'll say this, the Bears' O-line is better than the Rams' O-line. Now, if Dotson plays, it's a little bit closer. Yes, their D-line is better, but I think the skill position groups are close. I don't think they're, just across the board much better than the Bears. Plus, they haven't been playing their best recently. I think the weather can play a factor and can be a bit of an equalizer. So I think it goes more. There's more to this than just the weather. All right, super chat from Jerome. The secondary and linebackers have got to step it up to win. Yeah, need to play like they did in the second half for longer portions of the game, right? I thought the Bears' back seven was much better after halftime. They stuffed the run, which really spearheaded the comeback because it seemed like Matt LaFleur was trying to run the clock out in the third quarter and could not. Josh Jacobs had 8 yards on 11 carries on his final 11 carries. So, I think in general the defense needs to play better throughout the game, but so does the entire team. All right, guys, new merch alert. We got a lot to go through here. It's the Iceman collection, chatsports.com/Iceman. You got the Navy t-shirt available. It's like the Jordan floating in the air. It's the 4th and 8 pass for Caleb Williams. The Iceman came out. $30 for the t-shirts. We have them in navy. It's also available in white with the orange silhouette, the ice coming off the silhouette there as well. Those are $30. You can get the hoodies for $45. Chatsports.com/Iceman. Same link for the individuals. You'll be able to click and shop from there. Chatsports.com/Iceman. You got the white hoodie available as well. And then you got the 2 bundle options. The first one is the white hoodie with the navy t-shirt. Full value $75, marked down for $65 right now. Awesome deal. Chatsports.com/Iceman1. That's with the white hoodie, navy t-shirt. Chatsports.com/Iceman2, navy hoodie, white t-shirt. $65 as well. We've had people ask, what about same color shirt and hoodie? We could probably work something out. DM me at HGramNFL, Twitter, Instagram. You could also email bears@chatsports.com. If you want the same colors, we could probably get you that same price at $10 off. We'll work something out for you. But chatsports.com/Iceman gets you to where you want to go. You can find the bundles if you go to that initial link as well. All right, Luke Makowak, freezing temps. Appreciate the 10. He says, Bears secondary likely building a game plan around Puka. Feels like a game the Rams lean on Devontae, having balled out in the weather for years in Green Bay. Yeah, I think Puka is the guy that concerns you more in terms of anywhere on the field. He could take a slant 50 yards. You can use him on jet sweep, stuff like that. Whereas Adams is probably going to be more red zone, big moments, one-on-one on the perimeter, stuff like that. So it will be interesting if the Bears do have a specific strategy on who they want to take out more. I will say this about Davante Adams, who I respect a lot as a player. As he's gotten a little older, especially in cold weather, he does not like getting hit. So how much are they going to put him over the middle in 0-degree temperature? So I think Puka's the guy that they're going to be running a lot of crossers with and stuff like that. He is a zone beater. So do you man up Nakua sometimes and try to win that way? So, DA is going to have to feel it out early and kind of figure out what is and what isn't working. But they're obviously a very dynamic duo. Okay, Landon Cummings, how did you think Shamar Turner played this year? That's random. I thought he was starting to come along. They moved him to edge those last couple games before he tore his ACL. I thought as a run defender he was making some plays, but too small of a sample size. We hope he gets back healthy, ready for training camp, or at least at some point in the preseason. But talented player out of A&M, had an injury in the pre-draft process, then, of course, tears the ACL, so he's been banged up a lot the last couple years. Hopefully he gets healthy. He's a versatile player who can play inside and out. Which quarterback plays better this weekend? Type CW for Caleb Williams, MS for Matthew Stafford. I expect Caleb to play well. I expect him to make plays, and Stafford's been there and done that. So we'll see who comes out on top. Elijah, appreciate the 2. Has DJ done enough late to be a roster lock in 26? Roster lock feels strong. They're not going to cut him or anything, but could they opt to trade him if they want to free up some money to attack a different position? Certainly possible, but again, let's let this play out, see what happens. We're all focused on the here and now and trying to make a deep playoff run. All right, Mason, thoughts on possible Khalil Mack return? He still plays well and has expressed his love for Chicago. Bear down. Feels good to be a Bears fan again. Yeah, I think you're going to hear that name again, just like last year, and I stand by it. If he hit free agency, if you remember, like an hour before free agency opened last year, he re-signed with the Chargers. I think had he hit the open market, the Bears were going to make him an offer. Well, he's going to set to be a free agent again. Now, he's year to year. He could retire. But I'd be open to it. I think he could help you on a 1-year deal. Maybe it's like $12 to $15 million for 2026. You're going to hear that name as kind of a secondary option if they don't take a big swing in a trade or something like that. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We have you guys covered throughout the Bears postseason. And guess what? Even when the Bears are out and the season comes to an end, hopefully that's not until after the Super Bowl, but whenever it is, we'll still have daily content. So subscribe 24/7, 365. Bears Now has you covered with daily videos. All right, Marcus, if the Bears win and Stafford retires, is it crazy to say Caleb enters next season is the best QB in the NFC? I've seen this talking point out there. Nick Wright said it. If Stafford were to retire, there's a world where Caleb enters next year as the best QB in the NFC. I still think there's probably another level to reach to just make that claim, but if they make a deep playoff run, who am I to argue with it? Like, if they made the Super Bowl, like, he'd be the last quarterback standing in the NFC this year. So, look, from a talent standpoint, he can absolutely get there. It's just tightening up some of the early game consistencies. But he's a big game hunter. He makes a lot of huge plays. He's clutch as hell. He's already one of the better quarterbacks in the NFC. There's no question about that. Brian Cook, how do we feel about Cairo these days? McManus made me feel pretty good to have him. I think pretty good, man. I'd say right now, if you ask me, he's your kicker next year. Like, yeah, again, it's frustrating when there's certain kicks he can't attempt that others can, but he's also rock solid where a lot of kickers are not. Like, Cairo Santos is the ultimate, like, he's very good. Sure, the leg strength limitations at times are frustrating, but not only can you do a lot worse, he's one of the better kickers in the league. He's a top 10 kicker in the NFL. Maybe he's not top 5 because he's not banging in 60, 62-yarders, but he's top 10. And he can kick in tough conditions too, which is a requirement when you play at Soldier Field 8 or 9 games a year. Predict the score, Bears, Rams, who you got winning, and what do you think the final score is going to be? Let's hear it from you guys down in the comment section below. Bears, Rams, Soldier Field. Drop those score predictions. I got Bears 30-28. All right, Ben, thoughts on what Case Keenum said to the team? Yeah, so this is interesting. I'll spend a moment on this. So Case Keenum, his message to the team when they got back into the facility this week is, hey, the Packers game is over. We have to flush it, regardless of how awesome, regardless of how emotional it was. And he used an example from his days in Minnesota, the Minneapolis Miracle. Remember when they beat was it the Saints? Yes, it was the Saints on the walk-off touchdown to Stephon Diggs 8 years ago to advance to the NFC Championship game. I don't know if he said that they struggled to move past that and get ready for the next game, but he's mostly saying like, hey, as awesome as that was and as good of a memory as it will be, we're on to the next game now. Like, the goals don't stop, right? Us as fans can talk about it forever, right? But the players have to turn the page. Like, the Green Bay thing was awesome. You know, once the season's over and you're reminiscing on everything, you can have those thoughts. But, like, you got to hit the ground running to get ready for an even stronger opponent in the Rams. So, listen, I think Case Keenum's been a super valuable resource, not only to Caleb Williams, but to Ben Johnson and this entire team. So, he's been through it. He's seen it. And I think that's a really, really good and important message. Like, hey, it's another game now. Turn the page. All right, Michael Weston, what's needed for the run game to be effective? I think just, more timing up these blocks a little bit better. I think the timing's been a little off. That was the issue the first month of the year. We know this offensive line's very capable in the running game. it has some fatigue set in. These guys have played a lot of snaps this year, so it's hard to say. But I think just refining the details. We know this run game works. Just the last couple of weeks, it hadn't been at its best. The Rams are going to be a challenge, obviously, but I think they can be more efficient and more explosive than they have been the last 2 or 3 weeks. All right, guys, appreciate all the questions. Really good ones in there. If you didn't get yours answered, DM me on social media at HGramNFL, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. You can find me on all 3 platforms, same handle at HGramNFL. We will continue the conversation over there. Bear down. Super chat from Roast Beef. If the Bears win the Super Bowl, we build a Ice Caleb statue. And, yeah, I mean, they win the Super Bowl, he's a Chicago legend forever, no matter what happens the rest of his career. I mean, obviously, you would hope it's the first of multiple, but brings you your second Super Bowl, first since 1985, 40 years. 40 years later. By the way, the rematch is on the board. It could be Bears-Patriots again. That's not impossible. So, from Super Bowl 20 to Super Bowl 60, bring it on. Let's go. Let's see. Who do we got here?
KBBT.
McVay said he spoke to Matt LaFleur. McVay and LaFleur teaming up in game planning versus Ben Johnson. Give me Ben. Oh, we're talking about it coming up next. So stay tuned.
These people are somehow getting our scripts.
We are talking about it. Yeah, you guys are hacking our content. No, I'm just kidding. It's been a talking point.
Yeah,
it's been a talking point.
No, for sure.
We are talking about it, so stay tuned. Ben, when Jim Cornelison, yeah, he's electric. I can't wait for the anthem. And Soldier Field goes crazy. Rams get hit in -3 wind chill. The momentum, home field advantage will be too much for the Rams. You know what I'm interested to see, Colin? If the Bears win the toss, do they take the ball again?
That's a good question.
They didn't go down and get 3 to start the game, so in some ways it worked. Now, they didn't do anything the rest of the half, so it made the comeback even tougher not getting the ball, but they still did it. I'll be curious to see what their approach is this week.
I am as well. And
cold, windy game. Maybe you put Stafford out there first, try to knock him around a little bit, see how they handle the elements early. Or you could argue like, hey, go stand on the sideline in the cold for an extra 10 minutes. So
maybe.
They could also play the wind. Remember in that Eagles game, that was their approach?
Yeah.
They picked the coin flip based on the wind.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what approach they obviously take. I mean, we'll see if they even win the coin toss. It is the Rams'
of course
decision, or to pick heads or tails or whatever. But I think if you, let's just say it's cold, obviously as it's projected to be, and you're Ben Johnson, given everything that you know, which one are you picking?
In general, I like getting the ball to start the second half, and this team is such a second half team. It's like I'd probably rather do that. I understood why they did it the other way last week. The time of possession had been so heavily in the opponents, especially in these first halves. I didn't mind the approach of like, hey, let's set the tone and score first, which they did. They took a 3-0 lead. I would probably defer or just play the wind and let the Rams choose. That's probably what I would do. But see what happens. I mean, I understand both ways, but yeah, if the wind is severe, I wouldn't mind just kind of planning to have the wind in your favor in the fourth quarter. Like that would be I'd be perfectly fine with that.
Ben, breaking news: Packers fire LaFleur and hire defensive mastermind Matt Eberflus.
Could you imagine? There's no chance, but could you imagine? It's weird there's still no LaFleur resolution. Still? It's Thursday, almost evening.
Yep. It's almost been a week.
It's crazy, man. It is crazy.
You got to be thinking it's just details in the contract that they're just arguing over. What do you think the bigger thing is for LaFleur, the years or the money? I mean, obviously money's always important, but do you think he wants to stay there potentially long-term? Or
I think he does. I wonder if that initial theory by Domovsky is like, hey, what if they lowball him, and if he takes it, great. If not, they're like, well, we're kind of okay if we move on. Just trade him.
Maybe.
What if they're working trades behind the scenes, like quietly with a couple teams?
Blockbuster trade. Matt LaFleur sent to blank team.
If I was the Raiders, I'd be trying to get him. Hey, we got the number 1 pick. We'll trade you the 33rd pick for Matt LaFleur.
Honestly,
if I was the Packers, I wasn't sold on LaFleur, the 33rd pick is a pretty good offer.
it's pretty good.
You're not going to get the first pick, obviously.
Let us know down in the chat before we get into this next segment here. If Matt LaFleur were to get traded, which team do you think would be most likely to trade for him? We'll just keep it to the 8 NFL teams that still have coaching openings at this point. So you're talking about the Arizona Cardinals, the Atlanta Falcons, Baltimore Ravens, Las Vegas Raiders, the
Dolphins, Steelers. That's
Steelers,
6.
Dolphins.
What else we got?
I'm blanking on some names.
Hang on, I'm pulling up the standings. Titans.
Titans.
That's 7. And then the
Browns. We never said the
Cleveland
Browns.
Browns.
So those 8.
I mean, really, they should all be interested. But, I mean, I think Atlanta would be very interested. Matt Ryan, bringing him in. He's an offense. I mean, he's a quarterback. You just think that would make sense. If I were the Steelers, I'd be all over that. Go offense for the first time.
Can you imagine a run of Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, Mike Tomlin, and then freaking Matt LaFleur? I mean, that would be unheard of.
That would be something. That would be something. And then to Ben's point, Packers are so spoiled, who would be their next head coach? That's the question I keep coming back to. It's like, okay, you're not sold on them. Okay, fair enough. Who's better that you can get? I mean, there could be someone, but anyone you hire, that's just a projection. There's no – the most qualified guy available is the guy you fired for Matt LaFleur. You going to go back to Mike McCarthy? I don't think so.
Yeah. You could argue Stefanski, but even then it's like
LaFleur's more qualified.
Yeah, LaFleur.
I know it's
LaFleur more, but I'm saying out of him and McCarthy, you could argue Stefanski more than McCarthy. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, I would pick Stefanski because he's younger. But in terms of just like anyone you hire, comparing them to Matt LaFleur, if you're saying, okay, better resume, the only one is McCarthy, and this would be his 3rd job, and you fired him 8 years ago. Okay. Anybody else that's realistically available does not have a better resume. Okay, well, we want to go with a first-time head coach because we think he has a higher ceiling. Okay, again, that's a projection. You're going to promote Jeff Hafley? You're going to hire Robert Saleh? Like,
Grant Udinski?
Yeah, like, you go defense with Flores, something like that would be interesting. Feels like if they went defense, though, wouldn't they just go Hafley?
Makes sense.
I don't know. Nate Shieldhouse?
It's also like because they've taken so long with this, they'd already be so far behind in the coaching just interview process. Like,
I don't know how much that matters because I think all these guys would be like, well, if I even have a chance at Green Bay, I'm not agreeing to any other job.
I guess, yeah.
If that job opens up, I know Pittsburgh and Baltimore are open, but like, I'm pretty interested in coaching the Packers if that job frees up, if I'm a candidate.
Like, if you're John Harbaugh, if the Packers job was open, does he immediately sign with the Giants, or does he at least take the interview with the Packers?
Had he not already signed with the...
Like, I'm saying in a hypothetical scenario, let's say Matt LaFleur was traded to Atlanta, for example.
Yeah.
And Green Bay was open at the time that Harbaugh was interviewing with the Giants.
It'd be crazy not to. Now, I don't know what he would do, but I would think he'd talk to the Packers. Don't you?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think he would have.
That's what I'm like. I just think that Green Bay, to me, yes, it is. But, like, if guys are starting to take it, obviously Harbaugh's with the Giants now. It's like you're kind of, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I know what you're saying. They can't wait forever is
Exactly.
your point. Like, if they're going to do it, they need to make a decision.
Yes.
You
know what I am saying?
So, Ron Winarski, spoiler alert, Bears are picking 32 in the 2026 NFL Draft. Are you telling me that we're Super Bowl champs? Fuck yeah, Ron. Thanks for spoiling it for me.
Script's been leaked.
Script's been leaked.
Leaked.
Let's go. Matt Bellick. DeMarco Jackson played well, but how big of a drop-off is he from Edwards? Is that something that Rams will exploit? I mean, look, he's far less experienced. He does not have the, like the instincts of a TJ Edwards, but I think he can make up for that a little bit with fresh legs, speed. He can run. TJ felt a half step slow coming off this most recent injury, so it's hard to replace the intangibles of a TJ Edwards, the green dot, the communication, all that stuff, but I think there's something to be said for a young, just inexperienced player. You almost don't know what you don't know. Just go run around and make plays. That's kind of what he was doing earlier in the year when he was playing. So I'm excited to see what he can do. I also think you'll see some dime packages, Cullen, where it's Tremaine and then it's 6 DBs. I think you'll see that some with Kyler and Gardner-Johnson. You could slide Brisker up in the box, so you can kind of mix and match there. The chess match would be interesting because I think when they go to some dime looks, the Rams are going to go to that 13 personnel look.
Yeah.
So how does each team kind of
run the football,
challenge each other with the personnel packages?
If you watch the Bears, as I get logged out of YouTube, if you watch the Bears-Rams game from last season, yes, it was under Matt Eberflus, completely different defense, different scenarios, all that stuff. The Rams will attack the middle of the field. It's been part of their DNA ever since Sean McVay got there. And if you're Sean McVay, and obviously, look, you got DeMarco Jackson kind of sitting there as a new potential guy that's covering the middle of the field, they're going to test him, no doubt about it.
Tight ends.
Yeah,
crossers, pick routes.
Yeah. Is Ferguson playing this week? Terrence Ferguson?
He was full yesterday.
So he was full, so he looks good. Expect him, expect Puka, who loves working over the middle of the field, to be heavily featured to the point where the Bears will have to kind of, see how that kind of plays throughout the game because it's going to be a focal point, I guarantee you, for Sean McVay.
Yeah, they're going to see what he can do. I mean, I think they'll also run at him.
Yes.
Hey, you're 230, 235. We're going to put 3 tight ends in the game and run in between the tackles. What can you do? Can you shoot the gaps and tackle?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think we did a video earlier this week. I think the speed athletic profile, I think that's a bonus that TJ didn't necessarily provide, but everything else is obviously advantage Edwards. So, you wish the injury didn't happen, but hopefully DeMarco can hold his own. At least he's had some PT this year. It's not like he's coming into the lineup completely cold. So, see how he plays. All right, one more super chat coming in, and then we'll get to our final segment.
Crisis King says, this team, in my opinion, is an edge rusher, linebacker, safety, and corner away from a Super Bowl. I think they could make a run this year. What do you guys think?
You kind of just made conflicting statements. You said they're 4 pieces away from a Super Bowl, but then you also said, I think they can make a run. I do think in general, big picture, what does this team need? It needs about 4 or 5 upgrades on defense. How many of those can you fill in one off season? I don't know. If you told me they got one really good pass rusher and then upgraded at some spot in the secondary, I'd probably just take it and you piece together linebacker between TJ, potentially Tremaine, DeMarco, maybe sign some other free agent for cheap. But yeah, I think in general, those are your weaknesses. Your defense on all 3 levels needs some upgrades. But I also agree to your point, even though they're conflicting statements. I do think there's a chance they can make a run this year because there's a bunch of flawed teams this year.
Yeah, they're in the final 8 in terms of the NFL, the Elite 8, as some might say. They could 100% make a run of the Super Bowl. That being said, though, and last kind of talking point before we get into the final segment, Harry, if you compare both the Rams and the Bears, we talked about in the offseason the amount of blue chip players versus red chip, and then obviously, the different colors that you go down the line. If you were to look at the Rams, you could argue that while the Rams might have more blue chip players in terms of just, elite of the elite, maybe more than Chicago, you could honestly make the argument Chicago, again, fully healthy and all that, they might have more red players than the Rams.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. I mean, Stafford, Devontae, Puka, I might throw a Kevin Dotson in there if he's healthy. Those are probably all blue offensively. And then maybe one or I don't know if they actually have a single blue defensively. I mean, I thought Jared Verse would get there this year. I don't think he's there yet.
Not yet.
Kobe Turner's not there yet, so the Blues might actually be
Landman,
closer
I
than
thought,
you think.
was pretty good for them this year.
Yeah, he feels like a red to me. I'd have to study them closer.
He was borderline an all-pro this year.
Yeah, he was good.
He was really good. So, but point being, again, Bears, you could sit there and argue who's a blue, who's not. But red, in terms of really good players, it feels like Chicago might have the edge there.
Yeah.
It might.
Yeah, I mean, like, receiver position's a good example. Like, I would take the Rams duo, but I would take the Bears top 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Adams and Nakua, I would take that over any combination of the two Bears. But Bears have Rome, DJ Luther, OZ, Jade Walker. I mean, Jade Walker, you could argue, would be their third best receiver. Yeah. Tutu Atwell. They run 13 personnel for a reason.
All right, so the Rams injury report came out. Terrence Ferguson did practice again today. I'm looking for the official photo. Not sure if you can see it.
I'm looking at it. Hang on. Latest filter. I don't see it
We'll
yet.
get that on screen.
Don't have it yet, so they're weird about posting it. Somehow Underdog has access to it. Here we go. Sarah Barshup has it. Darius Williams is back at practice today. Was dealing with a personal issue. Kevin Dotson limited again. Stafford, Xavier Smith, Josh Wallace, Terrence Ferguson, Quentin Lake, Jordan Whittington, all full. Jimmy Garoppolo, DNP, popped up with a back. So
old man Garoppolo.
Potentially something to watch if he's out. Stetson Bennett would be the backup.
If you want to send that tweet to me, I can probably get it up on the show so we can at least talk and look at it for a second.
Yeah, it's got both teams on here, so it's not the best photo, but probably do full screen.
Yeah.
Poona Ford was full, by the way, so he's good to go.
Here, let me go grab this. Let me grab it.
So Dotson's the one to watch. He was limited again. After the show, we can just splice this in on the back end.
Yeah, that's what I figured. That's what I figured.
All right, who we got? Here,
we'll show this real quick. Rams injury report. Not the cleanest looking photo, but
you guys can see it up top. Darius Williams back. I think they had a baby, him and his wife or girlfriend. Kevin Dotson limited with that ankle, hasn't played since week 16. It's a big one to watch. He's a really good guard. Poona Ford full, so he's good. Stafford, no limitations with that finger. Xavier Smith, Josh Wallace, Terrence Ferguson, Quentin Lake, Jordan Whittington, all full. Jimmy Garoppolo popped up with a back. So, look, that's not insignificant. If Bennett's the backup, 37-year-old quarterback in cold weather, you take a weird hit. I mean, that could knock you out of a game. So
for sure.
I know who I'd rather face, Stetson Bennett or Jimmy Garoppolo. I'll take my chances with Stetson Bennett.
Yeah.
So
that's two-time national champion, Stetson Bennett.
That is get drunk and knock on the wrong door, Stetson Bennett.
This is true.
Michael, how bad is that Ozzy injury? I think someone on Twitter said it was a full torn patellar rupture. So that's not good. I mean, the start of next year is in doubt, I would say. So I don't think left tackle is a position you go full throttle for unless you just fall in love with someone in the draft. But you'll bring back Theo, and you're going to need someone else for competition, depth. Does Braxton Jones all of a sudden re-enter the conversation for next year? Maybe. You can't rely on Karan Amagaji. So we'll see. There's always cheap vets you can bring in for swing tackles. But a lot of it will probably depend on how Theo plays in the playoffs. If he holds his own, he probably is your starter. And then when Ozzy's healthy, he either returns or, depending on how Theo's playing, he's your backup. I don't know. It's a bummer, though. Ozzy was playing good ball, and then he has a serious injury. So wish him the best. Wish him the best. All right, we got one more segment here, and then we are going to get out of here. We'll answer any more super chats on the back end. Also, we'll plug our Iceman gear on the way out as well. If you've missed that, stay tuned. You can look right now, chatsports.com/Iceman, if you want to go check it out while we're talking this segment. But we'll plug it here in a minute. Here we go. One more segment. Sean McVay. Is he getting help from an old friend? Let's discuss. Is Matt LaFleur in such shambles that he's helping out his old pal, Sean McVay, to get ready for the Chicago Bears? We're going to talk about that, plus Sean McVay sounding off on all things, getting ready for this matchup in the divisional round of the playoffs. We'll get to it here on today's show. But if you want the Bears to not only just beat, but to destroy the Rams, hit that thumbs up icon, like this video. Let's get win number 13 and advance to the NFC Championship game. I'm Harrison Graham. Sean McVay, old pals with Matt LaFleur. Is he getting some tips, some inside information from the Packers head coach as he gets ready to come to Soldier Field and play the Chicago Bears? Well, Sean McVay was asked about Matt LaFleur and whether or not they have talked this week. He said, in kind of a funny manner, "What would you guess? Nah, you know what? We watch the tape. We do our work. Matt's a very close friend of mine," as he smiled and chuckled, and so did the media members. They have clearly talked. Now, in what capacity? I doubt that they've sat down for 10 hours and done film studies together, although you never know. They're both football junkies, and LaFleur clearly is pissed off, and, I don't blame him. But the way he answered that question, they have had a conversation. Now, tidbits here and there. How much does it matter? It's hard to say. I will say this. Matt LaFleur is clearly not happy. And it goes back to January when Ben took the job and he said, "Listen, I enjoyed beating Matt LaFleur twice a year," which he backed up, beat him 2 out of 3 times this year, which upset LaFleur as well. The frosty handshake last week, LaFleur was not happy about. And then, of course, I'm sure he's seen the clip, Ben saying F the Packers in his locker room speech. And then Ben even doubling down when asked about it by the Bears media, like, "Hey, now that time has passed, the emotions are, have passed." And he said, "Now George McCaskey and I are on the same page. I don't like that team. This is a rivalry. It needs to be a rivalry." So, is Matt LaFleur super motivated for the Bears to lose? I'm sure he'd be a little happy if his buddy Sean McVay took care of the Chicago Bears. Now, what is their connection? They were on that famous coaching staff in Washington in the early 2010s under Mike Shanahan. Mike McDaniel was also there, so was Kyle Shanahan. A jam-packed staff. Raheem Morris, I think, was on that staff as well. LaFleur also was Sean McVay's offensive coordinator when he first got the job in L.A. He did not call plays, but he was the OC in 2017 before going to Tennessee to become their OC, and then he got the Packers head coaching job. All of this to stop Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson. It's somewhat tongue-in-cheek by me, but look, these aren't necessarily abnormal things. Coaches talk to other teams sometimes, try to get a tip here and there if there's good faith between both sides. Does it make a huge difference? Probably not. I mean, I'm sure LaFleur could be like, "Yeah, in this situation, he'd probably do this tendency." Well, that's on film too. Sean's a pretty smart guy. I'm sure watching film all week long, he's probably picked up on some things that Ben likes to do. I want to ask you guys, do you put any weight in this? And LaFleur helping Sean McVay again? Is it help? I don't know. Are they actually talking extensively? I don't know that either. Type Y for yes, type in for no. I would say mostly no. Maybe there's a percentage of 1% that there's some kind of difference Matt LaFleur could make. But both games have played 18 games. Ben, DA, the Bears have watched all the Rams tape, vice versa. Both teams are well coached. Both teams are smart. There's no secrets. I'm sure Ben will have a few new wrinkles. I'm sure Sean will as well. that's kind of what goes into a game plan each week. You have your principles, and you add a couple of things. Maybe it's a new concept. Maybe it's a trick play. Maybe it's, hey, we've been doing this recently on 3rd and short. Let's go to that. Like, there's always new wrinkles, but everybody knows what most teams like to do at this point in the season. You're probably not going to see radical changes in the divisional round of the playoffs. It comes down to execution. It comes down to timely play calling. Sean McVay had this to say earlier in the week on Ben Johnson. He says he does a great job. I've studied him very closely from when he took over in Detroit. I think the guys that do the best job are the ones you can see have a true understanding of what the defenses are doing and an intent to be able to manipulate a lot of the rules. Being able to maximize his players' skill sets, you can see there's philosophies and core beliefs of how he wants to build it. You look at the free agents they signed and the guys they drafted high up, taking the tight end, for example. Remember, Sean McVay wanted Colston Loveland. He's someone who has the ability to have one of the best offenses with a guy like Jared Goff, who's special, and then be able to have someone or some similar principles with Caleb Williams, but also be able to accentuate the things that makes him unique with his athleticism. He does a damn good job. And I would expect Sean McVay to say nothing else or nothing less. He is well aware of Ben Johnson's offensive acumen. He's gone against him multiple times when the Rams were playing the Lions. Ben Johnson actually beat him twice. Once in a playoff game a couple years ago, and then again in the regular season last year as the Lions offensive coordinator. A couple of close games there. These are two of the smarter offensive coaches in the game right now. So, the LaFleur angle is interesting. I don't think like Sean McVay, there's been this Twitter thing that Ben Johnson is making enemies out of everyone. I don't think Sean McVay and Ben Johnson are enemies. Now, they may not be buddies like LaFleur and McVay are, but, Ben Johnson, Matt LaFleur, yeah, that's one thing. I don't think Sean McVay all of a sudden is the clone of Matt LaFleur this week. If he gets a tip or two from his buddy, so be it. But I don't think it's going to make some massive difference overall. On the flip side, which we discussed this week, Ben Johnson gave a lot of praise to both Ben Johnson and Matt Stafford, or to Sean McVay and Matt Stafford, I should say. He does a phenomenal job, Ben said. All of his teams are well prepared. There's no doubt. He's super sharp on the offensive side, but how he does it as a head coach, bringing all three phases together, is really critical to their success. There's a reason why they're in it every year. And I will say this. These coaches nowadays, especially these offensive guys, it seems like, they have a lot of competitive fire. And, we always talk about in sports, like quarterback head-to-head. That was always the thing with Brady and Manning. It was, fans always felt like, especially early on in their careers, Manning was the better player, but Brady won the head-to-heads, right? And so that was always like a huge debate. I think there's a lot of truth to that with these coaches too. Like Ben Johnson, he's like, man, I already handled LaFleur. 2 out of 3, won the playoff game. That's advantage me. Now I get a chance to beat the best guy head-to-head, best guy going in the NFC right now in Sean McVay. If I can do that, like trust me, that is something bouncing in the back of Ben's mind. It's not at the forefront. The focus is how do I just win this game? But there's a small piece of the puzzle, and they're like, hey, man, like I want that 1-0 against McVay as a head coach, especially in the playoffs. So these guys are very competitive, and I would expect them to both have a fiery approach to this matchup. All right, coming up, Sean McVay continues to sound off. He had some strong words on Bears quarterback Caleb Williams. We will dive into that here in just a second. But today's show is sponsored by Prize Picks. Whether you're starting a new routine, making player picks for the first time, trying something new can be hard. But in life and on Prize Picks, it always feels good to be right. With high-pressure playoff matchups every weekend and elite hoops action almost every night, the action never stops, and Prize Picks lets you take control. New feature. Prize Picks now has early payouts. If your lineup gets off to a hot start, you may now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. On Prize Picks, how you play is up to you. If you want flexibility, choose the flex play option where you can get paid even if one of your picks misses. And if you want the biggest payouts, go for the power play. No matter your play, Prize Picks is a great way to put your takes to the test. Awesome opportunity. C.J. Stroud, more than half a passing yard. Max discount offer. Take advantage. Pair that with something else. You're halfway home to a win in a Prize Picks lineup. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use our code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you get your play your first dollar lineup. first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it is good to be right. Okay, Sean McVay also talked about Caleb Williams and the difficulties of slowing him down and kind of the run he's been on recently. Here's what he had to say about Caleb. He said, playmaking ability, explosive plays, his ability to make plays within the pocket, drive the ball to all parts of the field, but then to be able to extend plays, keep his eyes downfield, and make unbelievable throws off platform or with his legs. He's an explosive play waiting to happen. It's why they've been able to get back in games and finish the way they have. There's a belief that they've established. It's no different with Matthew, his quarterback, Matthew Stafford, the other day. He had full expectation to lead us down the field. I feel that when I watch Caleb and that team. He's a nightmare to defend. And there was no better example of just the explosive play waiting to happen with Caleb Williams in that fourth quarter. That's why the Bears put up 25 points. That's why he almost threw for almost 200 yards, 2 touchdown passes. It's why it was his 7th game-winning drive of the year. We've seen it. If you don't put the Bears away, like the Packers were unable to do, watch out and good luck. Because when the Iceman breaks through, there's no stopping them. We saw it on Saturday night. Once they got that first touchdown, they were not going to be stopped. And you just hope as a Bears fan, if it could just start a little bit earlier. But regardless of the scenario, regardless of how the game plays out, if you get to the fourth quarter with the chance, Caleb Williams is going to make plays. And he's going to find a way to break through and figure out how to attack these defenses. We saw it last week. We've seen it all year. Sean McVay knows it. And, if I'm the Rams, the message all week is like, hey, do not let up, right? Like Matt LaFleur started running the ball too much in that second half. Hey, let's suck the clock. Let's try and just finish this game. It's like, Matt, this isn't working. That's why Packers fans are pissed off. Because if you give Caleb Williams enough cracks at it, he's going to break through eventually. How confident are you in Caleb right now? Scale of 1 to 10. I'm pretty damn confident. I'm at like a 9-2. I'm hoping for faster starts, but Ben even said it this week, and I don't even disagree with him. I thought he was fine in the first half. He wasn't at his best, but like if Luther Burden runs the right route, if a couple other things are cleaned up, then maybe they have like 10, 13 points at the half, but in the end, he found a way to win because that's what he does. Ben Johnson also wanting to revisit this just to kind of show the mutual respect, saying this about Matthew Stafford, a guy he was around for a couple of years in Detroit. He said, I have so much respect for that guy, the ultimate competitor. He's one of the more supremely talented throwers of the football that I've ever been around in my life. He's outstanding. He's a great teammate. But what I think is second to none with him is toughness, physical toughness. This guy has gone through a lot, yet he finds a way to be on the field for his teammates. When you look at him from a competitor standpoint, this is a really good player. He's going to will himself to help his team out the most. And look, I think there's a lot of mutual respect here with Ben Johnson, Sean McVay. Again, they're probably not best pals. They haven't coached on staffs together like Sean McVay and Matt LaFleur, but I don't think Sean McVay needs Matt LaFleur for game planning or for motivation. Like, he'll take it. He'll take, like, hey, Matt, or hey, Sean, I got something for you. Here's a clip. Go check this out. Like, sure, but, like, Sean hasn't slept this week. He's watched every Bears game. I promise you that. And he's living in the film room figuring out how to attack Dennis Allen's defense, how he can help Chris Shula out to get stops at Caleb Williams. And in the end, these teams are going to be well prepared. They're going to be well coached, and it's going to come down to probably a handful of plays. And if it does, I like the Bears in that scenario because they've been the clutchest team in the NFL this year, and we'll see if that can continue on Sunday night. All right, thank you guys so much for tuning in to Chicago Bears Now. If you made it to this point in the video, it is the end of the video, and that makes you a real one, so hit that subscribe button. My name is Harrison Graham. Bear down. Astro.
I've been seeing a lot of Packers fans and people saying Rashawn Gary could be a cut candidate. Anyways, we could get cheap with giving DJ or picks.
I'm not trading for Rashawn Gary. If he gets cut and you want to sign him for like a 1-year team-friendly deal, so be it. I would not. Rashawn Gary was horrendous the second half of this year, Colin. He didn't have a sack after week 9.
One great.
Yeah, there's no world where I would trade for him, and the Packers wouldn't trade him to the Bears. So, yeah, I'm not that interested. Danny Chamberlain, did you guys hear the Packers start a petition for Ben Johnson to apologize for saying F the Packers? I did. There's a word I want to say. I will not. That's one of the softer things I've ever seen. You don't have to like it, but to create a petition to have the Bears head coach apologize, that is so lame. It's a fucking rivalry. You should hate Ben. That's the beauty of it. Come on, man. I'd be pissed too if he said it. That's why it's a rivalry. It's like in Texas OU when OU guys put the horns down. It pisses off Texas fans. It should, and vice versa. That's the whole point of this.
Soft.
Start a petition. What are we doing? OU Texas, that's right. Yeah. You guys won this year, so that is true.
No, y'all didn't.
Oh, I'm an idiot. It is Texas OU this year. Christ is King. And my bad earlier, I meant to say I also think, but would you guys trade or draft 3rd to 7th round a wide receiver, still try to trade for Crosby, also sign Aubrey? Is he talking Brandon Aubrey? He's not. Cowboys are not letting him go. They will get a deal done if he's not under contract.
That's what I'm assuming.
I could see a receiver in the middle to later rounds if they trade DJ. Just add a guy to that room. But they also might just re-sign Zacchaeus for cheap. Jade Walker is on a cheap UDFA contract. And then they duke it out for wide receiver 3. It's probably Jade Walker. OZ's a great 4. And then, honestly, Duvernay's been good down the stretch. He's your returner again, 5th wide receiver. Maybe you draft a guy to compete for a roster spot in the late rounds, but that's the thing. They got guys.
They do.
And Loveland, I mean, he's a receiver that can also block his ass. I mean, he is such a luxury. So, again, like we've said it, Rome, Luther, and Loveland, that's your trio. And then, you have contributors like the Jades, the Cole Kmets, the OZs if you want to bring him back. If he wants to come back for a vet man, let's do it. He's made some plays down the stretch. Had that touchdown to cut it to 3 late in the game. So OZ's kind of turned out exactly what I thought. He's a great 4. He's a serviceable 3. I think he's more of a 4. I think the way this year has played out, he's more of a 4. But he's an excellent 4. Part-time role, reliable. He kind of had that weird stretch where he dropped a few balls this year, but for a 4, he's fantastic because if a guy's inactive or whatever, you need him to be your 3rd. He can play all 3 receiver spots. He's an ideal 4. So I'd love to bring him back if it doesn't cost any money. He seems to like it here. So, yeah, I think overall that signing has worked out. Jarek Scott, I feel like Booker is only scratching the surface. He has the talent to be a 10-sack guy, in my opinion. Still wouldn't like to trade for a defensive end, but D-tack might be a solution. Yeah, I've been pleased with Booker down the stretch. I think he's played well. I don't know what the ceiling is. I don't think he's ever a top guy on a defensive line, but has he improved enough where he could be like a starter? He's been a starter for this team now. This isn't a great D-line, but yeah, I think the development has been there. He's improved against the run. He flashes as a pass rusher. If he can be healthy, it's a bummer he got hurt in the preseason because had he had all year, you wonder what kind of full season he could have had, but I do think he's taken advantage of Dayo Adengbo going down. I think he's done some good things. So, yeah, I like where he's at. I think where they drafted him, they're getting good production. So, year 3 next year could be an opportunity to kind of take off, have a 7, 8, 9 sack year. We'll see. Astro again, appreciate the 5. I've been seeing a lot of Packer fans, people saying, oh, we already hit this. Rashawn Gary.
Freaking love that it does that. Yeah. It was meant to be this one. I meant, can we get him after they cut him without trading for someone like Max and giving up picks or DJ and duel him with Montez?
Yeah, you could do that. If he gets cut, he'd be a guy that'll probably have to sign a 1 year, $10 million deal or something like that. Guys like that get cut all the time. Does he kind of enter that Jadeveon Clowney type of part of his career where he's just signing a bunch of 1 year deals for $8 to $10 million? There's always those type of guys. So,
there is.
I stand by it too. They should have signed Clowney. They should have. He was good. He was just sitting there. They should sign him next year. He's still good.
If he wants to play next year.
Bring him in. Bring him in.
Bring him in then.
Bring him in then. All right, now let's plug Iceman real
that's
quick.
right.
We're about to get out of here, but I know people are. Was the petition fake? I choose to believe it. Packers fans would do it. I choose to believe it. All right, if you're just joining us or if you need a reminder, the Iceman collection is here. The Iceman cometh. Look at this, the little silhouette, the 4th and 8. Kind of a little Jordan-esque there. Iceman 18. We got these shirts and hoodies available at chatsports.com/Iceman. The shirts are $30. The hoodies are $45. You got them in navy and white. Colin will kind of cycle through here. It's the same model for the hoodies and the T-shirts. So you go back to the hoodie here, same as the navy T-shirt. Go to the white hoodie, same as the white shirt. Orange silhouette with the ice drip, and then on the navy, the ice drip is even more noticeable, which I think is pretty cool. But both looks, I think, are awesome. The best deal, though, is if you like the shirts and the hoodie, or if you like both colors, well, we got bundle deals. Chatsports.com/Iceman1. White hoodie, navy T-shirt, $75 at full price, but right now, $65. $10 off. Awesome deal. Take advantage. If you want to flip it, navy hoodie, white shirt, chatsports.com/Iceman2. Now, if it's too much to remember, just go to chatsports.com/Iceman. That'll get you to the homepage of the collection, and you'll be able to see the bundle deals right there, the individual items as well. You can click and shop from there. So go check it out. I recommend the bundles, though. $10 off. You get a hoodie. You get a T-shirt. Absolutely fantastic. And our design team, the merch team, they've been putting out awesome stuff, and you guys have been buying it. So shout out to everybody who's been getting it. I think they're all well done. I've got them all as well, except for the Iceman stuff. I should get that pretty soon once they get that initial shipment out. So take advantage. Chatsports.com/Iceman for the 2 bundles. Chatsports.com/Iceman1. Chatsports.com/Iceman2. Check it out. Awesome, awesome stuff. To anyone who's bought already, appreciate you guys. Let's keep this thing rolling.
We got some more super chats coming in, so we'll keep it live here. Crisis King says, I low-key want to know what y'all's vision for this team is going into next season. Who would the Bears sign in free agency, trade, or draft this offseason, etc.?
Man, we're looking ahead. We're in the divisional round of the playoffs. So what's the vision for next year? Now, I get it. We will have a perfect offseason video. We will have free agency and draft content. Don't you worry. But yeah, I think my vision for the offseason is like, how can you bolster the defense? What is the smartest way to do that? Is it going all in on a big-time pass rusher? Is it trying to plug 2 to 4 holes with some middle-tier players? Is it trading up in the draft? Is it, there's a lot of different ways you could go.
Trading future draft picks?
Yeah, you could do that. To me, you got to find at least 2 or more upgrades on your defense. How do you accomplish that? That is what I'm trying to do. And you also have to figure out, Colin, which guys are you bringing back to this team, especially on defense. Your top 5 safeties, if you want to count Gardner-Johnson as a safety, are free agents. Brisker, Byard, Elijah Hicks, Jonathan Owens, and C.J. Gardner-Johnson. How many, if any, of those guys do you bring back? I'd say you bring back one of those 2 backups, Hicks and Owens. They can play special teams. They're versatile. Maybe if they're both vet men guys, I'd bring both back. And then I would pick Byard over Brisker. I'd give Byard a 1-year deal, and I'd let Brisker test the market. If his market sucks and he wants to come back for super cheap, okay, we can have a talk, but that's what I would do. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, I would be interested in bringing him back if the price is right. 1-year deal, especially given his history. I'd like to bring him back and play him more at safety, Cullen. And then, you hope Kyler's healthy. But he's also kind of insurance. If Kyler goes down, he could slide down, play nickel if you need him to. So
versatility.
I'd like to have him back if the price is right. So that safety kind of nickel group is going to be interesting to see, like, which pieces they bring back.
To me, it's where do you upgrade along the defensive line? They made a lot of investments there already. So I don't know how many resources they're going to pour into it outside of maybe draft picks. Potentially, if you have your first-round pick or if you trade it away, whatever the case may be. Listen, Montez Sweat, he is who he is at this point. Even with his kind of, surges sometimes, I still don't think he's lived up to what he's been getting paid. to be honest, the only one that's outperforming his contract, at least on the edge spots, is Austin Booker.
Yeah.
Defensive line, Grady Jarrett will be another year older. Obviously, you're committed to him through next year.
I will say this. He played his ass off in the run game against Green Bay in the second half.
Yeah.
He completely stuffed Jacobs.
Shamar Turner, we'll see when he comes back from injury. Javon Dexter, he, I think, enters the final year of his deal next year.
Yeah, he's just back, and you see how next year plays out. Question is whether or not he's a starter if you try to upgrade.
Yeah.
I think Sweat's back at this point.
No, he'll be back unless it's involved in some trade like Haiku.
He's still your best defensive lineman, so I expect him back unless you move him in some kind of trade. I think the guy earlier who mentioned Khalil Mack, like 5.5 sacks in 12 games this year, still plays the run well. I mean, I think he signed for 1 year, $18 million this year. Could you get him for like 12, 10? Yeah. Would he come back to Chicago for 1 year? Maybe.
Who knows?
Trey Hendrickson, what's his price tag?
That would be where I would focus. Linebacker, obviously, with TJ's injury, we'll see what his kind of offseason program looks like. Tremaine, how does that situation look? And then, obviously, to be honest, at secondary, I would agree. Like, yeah, none of the backups are signing more from the vet men in terms of just bringing them back. Byard's been clearly the more productive safety out of him, and Brisker. Do they potentially look to target, another versatile safety along with C.J. Gardner-Johnson? Because to your point, they really felt the impact when both those guys weren't out there. And with C.J. Gardner-Johnson's, let's just call it history, I think you put it best. And then with Kyler Gordon's now kind of injury proneness, they're going to need to invest in a guy that's probably maybe one of the more versatile defensive backs in the draft and or free agency. So,
yeah, they're not going to plug every hole. A lot's popped up. I think some of this is going to be, hey, well, hopefully some of these guys are more healthy. Like Kyler, there's going to be some level of like, we just need this guy to be healthy.
Yeah.
And, you hedge a little bit there. A guy like Tyreek Stevenson's very valuable. He's under contract next year, so he can just be a starter. Like, I kind of just think, like, Nashawn Wright walks. Like, that's a guy you just let go. Great year, great story. Let someone else pay him. Tyreek's a starter. Jalen's a starter. Terrell Smith is back under contract next year. Maybe he's your third outside corner a year from now. Bring back Nick McLeod on the vet minimum. He could play all three corner spots. Be like your final corner. Does Zay Frazier enter the mix? He's a wild card, so I'm worried about Sunday. I'm not worried about this offseason. Not yet. Ask me Monday if the Bears lose, but hopefully they won't. Michael, what percentage would you blitz this game?
100. Kidding.
Stafford's pretty good against the blitz. They blitzed a lot in the second half, kind of out of necessity. They just had to take some chances, and it worked. I don't know. I mean, some. I'll say this. I don't mind playing some man coverage in this game. Devontae's not a burner anymore. He's a great route runner, but a lot of his catches are like back shoulders and stuff anyway. And Nakua's better against zone than man. So, like, I think you can take some chances. You got to be smart how often you do it when you do it, though. I mean, Stafford's really good at identifying where the pressure's coming from, so – my guess is early on they probably won't blitz much and they'll kind of feel it out. But yeah, I'll be curious to see if they're playing more man or zone early.
I'd have more of a healthy mix. Like, even though Puka Nacua may not be the greatest against man coverage, based on how Nashawn Wright and Jalen Johnson have been 100%, if you run those crossers that the Rams are known for running for against Nashawn Wright or Jalen, that could be a problem for the Bears defense.
Yeah.
I'd mix it up. I'm not saying I wouldn't go lean one way or the other.
No, I'm with you. It's funny. It feels like every week I'm like, I'd play zone this week. The other ends up being the better way. So, like, at this point, I just don't even know, man. I think you feel it out early, mix up your looks, and go with what's working better. I would probably try to eliminate explosives early on in the game, force them to drive it, especially in cold weather. Maybe a throw gets away from Stafford, which happens from time to time. So that's definitely a key in this game. When Stafford misses, you got to, take advantage. He's going to have anywhere from 2 to 5 throws this game that he's going to put in harm's way. can you pick off a couple of those? If you can, that's a huge thing. Louis Shoes, top 10 victory celebrations video. Might need one after all the clutch wins this season. Yeah, less crash outs, more positive vibes. I don't even know if we'll have enough for crash outs this year. I mean, there have been random moments in games, but not really late game ones.
Yeah, random moments in games that
like
lead
Jervon
to...
Dexter drop kicking the ball out of bounds last week.
There was one, I don't know if it was during the Packers game, it may have been before that, honestly. Legit, like, I try to just, lighten the mood. That was one of those where you had a crash out, like, within the last couple of weeks, where I was just like, I'm gonna be behind the scenes here for a little bit. But it hasn't been this year. Last year, it felt like it was every week. This year, it's been more, like, positive.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, we've got Trey Talk Sports. What's your take on George Jr., out of Florida? I think he's raw. The potential's there. He just needs coaching more reps.
I won't even BS you. I don't know who that is. I'll look him up real quick. George Gums Jr. reference. He is a real guy, George Gums. This year he had his last 3 years. So Northern Illinois in 2023, transferred to Florida, had 5 sacks in 2024, 2.5 this year. Former tight end, switch positions, it looks like. Feels like a Dom Rob situation. Pretty raw still. Day 3. Don't know enough about him. We'll have to look into him.
All right, we're officially caught up.
All righty. Thank you guys so much. Chatsports.com/Iceman. Go check it out. We'll put the link in the chat one more time. And enjoy your weekend. I'll have some content between now and kickoff, including a couple new videos. We'll probably do final injury stuff tomorrow, especially if there's anything notable like game designation stuff, questionable, so on and so forth. And then I think I'm going to do a video after the Seahawks-Niners game as well. So try to make that happen. But my name's Harrison Graham. Shout out to Cullen for producing. We will see you guys live Sunday, 3:30, 2-hour pregame show. We'll do it again. See you then. Bear down.